Good morning. Welcome to our today's class. This is cost accounting. Now, last week I had sent you some notes in your students' portal. So they were on accounting for overheads. So in our today's class is just a continuation from last week. So welcome. Now today I want us to look at a question. So this question is about apportioning of overheads. Apportioning of overheads. So this is the question. So the question says, the following information relates to a factory which has 4 departments. So we have the overheads and the figures which are in shillings here. We have rent, 80,000, repair to plant, 50,000, depreciation of plant, 40,000, light and heat, 20,000, supervision, 60,000, repair to buildings, 30,000. Now B, we have this information in respect of 4 departments. So this is information in relation to the 4 departments. We have Department A, Department B, Department C, and Department D. So we have area in square meters. For A is 1,500, for B is 1,200, this is 800, and this is 500. Number of employees, this is 35 for A, 25 for B, 25 for C, and 15 for D. Now we have value of plant, which is in shillings, 500,000, 300,000, and 200,000 for Department C. We have required prepare an overhead analysis sheet. So this question requires us to prepare an overhead analysis sheet. So this is how we prepare overhead analysis sheet. So we have here overhead analysis sheet. So this overhead analysis sheet is normally prepared to reapportion the overheads to the various cost centers or departments. So the first column we have here is overheads. So we have overheads here. Now the second column we have bases. Basis upon which you are going to use to reapportion the overheads. So we have here basis. Then the third column we have ratio. Then the fourth column we have total. Now you find that these first 4 columns are normally necessary. Whenever you are faced with a question on overhead analysis sheet, the first 4 columns are normally necessary. So from this point, it will depend on the nature of the organization. So you find that you might get a question in which an organization is having 5 departments. So it means that you will require 5 other columns. Another case is whereby you might get a question where an organization is having 3 departments. So it means that you only require 3 more columns. But in this case, we have this company which is having 4 departments. That is Department A, B, C, and D. So it means that from this point we need 4 more columns. So we need 4 more columns. So we have here column A. We have column B here. Now let me expand them a little bit. So we have A there, we have B, we have C, and we have D. So these are the columns which we require to reapportion these overheads to these 4 departments. Now the first overhead we have from the equation is rent. The first overhead we have is rent, so we have here rent. Then the next thing we have basis. Now from the notes I gave you last week, if you had gone through them very well, you will find that the choice of basis which you use to reapportion the overheads is normally a matter of judgment and common sense. It is normally a matter of judgment and common sense. It means that you need to look at those basis given by the examiner, and you try to pick the one which is close or closer to the overhead which you want to do it, to reapportion. So in this case, the ones which have been given by the examiner is, we have area in meter square, we have number of employees, and we have value of machine, value of plant. So out of these three bases, you find that the one which is which we can use to reapportion these overheads is simply rent. So we have rent there. We have rent there. We have area, sorry. We have area. That is the basis we are going to use to reapportion the rent. Next column is ratio. So how do we come up with the ratio? You look at what the examiner has given you. In this case, Department A occupies a space of 1,500. Department B is 1,200. Department C is 800. Department D is 500. So you look at those figures and you try to pick the one which is common. Now this is normally my approach. I like using the ratios, but we find that you may get another textbook whereby here what they use here is rate. Especially if you look at if you go through NSLME, cost accounting by NSLME. NSLME normally uses what? Rate, but most of the textbooks they normally use ratio. So that is the approach which I normally adopt. So we look at what is common between 1,500, 1,200, 800 and 500. So what is common there? I can say what is common is 100. So if 100 is common, it means that in the first case here I'll have 15. 1,200 divided by 100, that is 12. 800 divided by 100 is 8. And finally 500 divided by 100 is 5. So the total overheads which we want to reapportion are shillings 80,000. So we have here 80,000. Now these 80,000 are in shillings. So let's not forget that they are not in euros or dollars. They are in shillings. So let's start reapportioning. Now, at this point, you need to get the total of the ratio. So the total of the ratio, you need to get the total of the ratio. So we have there 15 plus 12 plus 8 plus 5. That gives us 40. If you add the, all that ratio, we are getting 40. So we start with the first one. So in the first one, we have 15. So you take 15 divided by 40, you multiply by 80,000. You multiply by 80,000. That gives you how much? 30,000. So you write there 30,000. You write there 30,000. Next, we have 12. So we have there 12 divided by 40. Then you multiply by 80,000. That gives you 24,000. So you write there 24,000 for Department B. Next we have 8. So we have here 8 divided by 40 times 80,000. That gives you 16,000. We have there 16,000. Now we go to Department D. Department D we have here 5. So we have 5 over 40 times 80,000. That gives you 10,000. So we have there 10,000. So you find that after doing that reapportionment, what you need to do, you need to confirm whether all this total is adding to 80,000. That is something which you have to make sure that it is happening. If it is not adding to 80, just know that there is somewhere you've gone wrong. So can we confirm? Can we confirm if we are getting 80? So this is 10,000 plus 16,000 plus 24,000 plus 30,000 plus 30,000. So that is giving us 80,000. That is giving us 80,000. So it means that in the first case we've gotten it right. Now the second overhead is repair to plant. So we have here repair to plant. This is the second overhead, repair to plant. Now, which basis are we going to use to reapportion this overhead? This is repair to plant. Repair to plant. So I've said that the choice of basis to reapportion the overheads is normally a matter of judgment and common sense. You just need to look at those bases given by the examiner. Don't go outside what the examiner has given you. In this case, we only have 3 which we need to choose from. We have the area, we have the number of employees, and we have the value of plant. So whenever we come across any overhead in this question, those are the bases which we need to pick. You will pick one from the 3. So value of repair to plant, we are going to use value of we have value of the plant. So we have here value of plant. So we have the value of plant. Now we come to the second column, which is ratio. We come to the second column, which is ratio. So value of plant, how much are we having, or how much have we been given? For department A is 500,000, for department B is 300,000, and department C is 200,000. So you look at what is common. So you find that in that what is common is 100,000. 100,000 is what is common. So you take 500,000 divided by 100,000, that gives you 5. So you write there 5. Next, we have 300,000 divided by 100,000, that gives you 3. Next, we have 200,000 divided by 100,000, that gives you how much? We have 2 there. So that is how we come up with the ratio. Next, we have the total. So repair to plant, we had a total of 50,000. So we had a total of 50,000. Now let's do reapportionment of this 50,000. So in the first thing you need to do, you need to get the total of the ratio. So in this case, we have 5 plus 3 plus 2. That gives you what? 10. It gives you 10. Now we apportion. So in the first case will be 5 divided by 10 times 50,000. 5 divided by 10 times 50,000. That gives you 25,000. Next we have 3. So we have here 3 divided by 10 times 50,000. That gives you 15,000. It gives you 15,000. Next we have 2 divided by 10 times 50,000. That gives you 10,000. So here we have nothing. Now we find that if you add all this, 25,000 plus 15,000 plus 10,000, you are going to get what? 50,000. So you have to make sure that when you are done with the reapportionment, you need to get the total given by the examiner. So that is repair to plant. Next overhead is depreciation of plant. So we have here depreciation of plant. Depreciation of plant. So we have depreciation of plant. Now the basis which you are going to use to reapportion this overhead is again value of plant. Now don't mind how many times you are going to use this basis. You find that you can use one basis in maybe more than 1 times. So don't mind about that. So here we have value of plant. Now value of plant, we had already gotten our ratio in the previous case. So here we have 5, 3, 2. 5 is to 3 is to 2. Now, how much is the total of these overheads? That is a depreciation of plant. Depreciation of plant, we have it as 40,000. So we have there as 40,000. So let's do reapportionment. So in the first case, we have 5. You divide by 10, multiply by 40,000. 5 divided by 10, multiply by 40,000. So that gives us 20,000. So we have here 20,000 there. 20,000 there. Next we have 3 divided by 2 times 40,000. That 3 divided by 10 times 40,000. So that gives us 12,000. So we have there as 12,000. Last we have 2 divided by 10 times 40,000. So that gives us 8,000. We have there as 8,000. Then we write it well so that you may be able to see it. So we have there 8,000. So you find that at the end of the day, if you add all these 3 figures, you are going to get what? 40,000. That is something which you have to bear in mind. Whenever you're doing reapportionment, make sure that at the end of the day, you are getting the total overheads given in the question or given by the examiner. So next overhead is light and heating. Light and heating. So we have here light and heating. So light and heating, from the handout, from the notes I gave you last time, or from the handout, I had given you the handout. So from that handout, you find that light and heating, we use what? We use area. We use area. So again, area, we had already calculated the ratio. The ratio was 15:12:8:5. We had already calculated the ratio. So let's just bring it here. So we have here 15:12:8:5. The total amount of light and heat is 20,000. So we have here 20,000. The total amount is 20,000 there. Now, let's reapportion. So the total of this, we had gotten it as what? 40. So if you add this, all this, you get 40. So in the first case, we shall have 15 divided by 40 times 20,000. So that gives you 7,500. 7,500. Next, we have 12 divided by 40 times 20,000 times 20,000. So that gives you 6,000. So we have here 6,000. Next, we have 8. We have 8 divided by 40 times 20,000. So that gives you 4,000. So we have here 4,000. And finally, we have 5 divided by 40 times 20,000. So that gives us 2,500. Again, if you add all this, you'll be getting 20,000. If you add all this, you'll be getting 20,000. Next, you have supervision. So the next overhead is supervision. So supervision, which basis are we going to use? Here we've been given area. We have number of employees and value of plant. So we find that out of those 3 bases given by the examiner, the basis which we are going to use to reapportion this overhead is number of employees. Number of employees. So we have the number of employees. I hope it's very clear. Number of employees, or I can just serve it in short form. So we have there employees, like that. So number of employees, we've been given the number of employees. So in the first case is, for Department A, there are 35 employees. For Department B, there are 25 employees. For Department C, we have 25 employees, and D, we have 15 employees. So you look at what is common in those 4 figures. So you find that what is common is 5. What is common is 5. So in the first case, we are going to take 35 divided by 5. That gives you what? 7. Next, we have 25 divided by 5 is 5. Next, we have 25 divided by 5 is 5. And finally, we have 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that is the ratio. That is the ratio. Now, next column is total. So total we have 60,000. The total, that is total overheads on supervision is 60,000. 60,000. So let's reapportion this 60,000 among the 4 departments. So the first thing you need to do is to get the total of the ratio. That is the first thing you need to do. So we have there 7, we have 5, we have 5, we have 3. That gives us what? 20. It gives us 20. Now we start for department A. So we have department A is 7. You take 7 now, divide by 20 times 60,000. We have 7 divided by 20 times 60,000. That gives us 21,000. It gives us 21,000. Next, we have 5 divided by 20 times 60,000. So that gives us 15,000. It gives us 15,000. So the next for department C will also be 15,000 because those ratios are the same, 15,000. Now the last we have 3 divided by 20 times 60,000. So that gives us 9,000. So you have your 9,000 there. So we are done with supervision. Again, if you add all these 4 figures, you should be getting 60,000. We have repair to buildings. Repair to buildings. So we have here repair to buildings. So repair to buildings, we are going to use area. So area, we already have the ratio there. So this is 15, 12, 8, 5. That is the ratio. The total amount is 30,000. 30,000. Now you start reapportioning. So we have 15 divided by 40 times 30,000. That gives us 11,250. Next we have 12 divided by 40 times 30,000. That gives us 9,000. Next we have 8 divided by 40 times 30,000. That gives us 6,000. Finally we have 5 divided by 40 times 30,000. That gives us 3,750. So if you add all that, you should be getting 30,000. Now, at that point, we are done with reapportionment. So what is remaining is to get the total. So you need to get the total for each of the columns. So let's start with the total. So we have the first one as 80,000 plus 50,000 plus 40,000. Next is 20,000. Next is 60,000. And finally we have 30,000. So that gives us 280,000. So we fill it in this column here. 280,000. The next is for department A. So department A, we have the first figure as 30,000. So we have the 30,000. You add 25,000. We add 20,000. You add 7,500. You add 21,000. You add 11,250. So that gives you 114,750. Next we have department B. So we have 24,000 plus 15,000. 15,000 plus 12,000 plus 6,000 plus 15,000 plus 9,000. So that gives us 81,000. So you have there 81,000. Next we have 16,000. We have there 16,000. We have next is 10,000 plus 8,000 plus 4,000 plus 15,000 plus 6,000. So that gives us 59,000. So we have there as 59,000. Next we have department D. So department D we have 10,000. We have 2,500. We have 9,000 and 3,750. So that gives us 25,250. 25,250. So we need to confirm whether these four figures are giving us 280,000. So we have, you add 59,000 to that, plus 81,000, plus 114,750. So that gives us 280,000. So it means that we have reapportioned these overheads to the four departments accurately. I hope you are confirming those figures. So you need to be confirming so that you see whether it is okay or not. So that is the end of our today's session. Now next week we shall look at a case whereby the service department overheads, it's normally referred to as reciprocal servicing. So reciprocal servicing is a case whereby you find that as a given service department is offering a service to other service department, and at the same time it is also receiving service to other service department or from other service department. So that is known as reciprocal servicing. Now in a case of reciprocal servicing, so this is what we are going to do next week. So I'll give you a question on this one. So in the case of reciprocal servicing, we normally have four methods which we can use to reapportion these service department overheads to production departments. So number one, we have the direct method. So we have direct method, that is number one. Number two, we have step down. This is step down. Number three, we have repeated redistribution. So this is repeated redistribution. Repeated distribution. Repeated distribution. In other words, it is known as continuous allotment. Continuous allotment. You can also have it in that term. The last one, the last method, we have simultaneous. So this is simultaneous equation. Simultaneous equation. Simultaneous equation. Or you can also have it as algebraic method. Algebraic method. So these are the four methods which are normally used to reapportion service department overheads to production department in the case of what is known as reciprocal servicing. I have said that reciprocal servicing, this is whereby a service department or a service department is giving a service to other service department, and at the same time it is receiving a service from the other service department. So we'll see you next week. I'll give you a question on this area, then we shall also do a question on this area. Goodbye.